So, we have here our first amino acid and our second amino acid. I'm going to combine these two. So, we will have the oxygen and 2 of the hydrogens here combine. We'll have H2O leave. And we will have the resulting carbon N H3 CO, right? N H C R H C O O H. So this is our peptide bond right there. Water left, it's a condensation reaction. We have our peptide bond forming. Let's make that pretty. That brings us to the levels of structure of the polypeptide chain. When we have these peptide bonds forming over and over and over again, they will form in a chain. The sequence of amino acids in a single polypeptide chain is the protein's primary structure. The sequence of amino acids in a single polypeptide chain. The sequence of amino acids in a single polypeptide chain. That is our protein primary structure. Which amino acid is this? Which one 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 is this, etc. So if this is phenylalanine, this is leucine, this is serine, this is cysteine, etc. You change the protein's primary sequence if you switch leucine and serine, for example. Or if you switch leucine out for valine, or some other amino acid. The relevant bonds of the next level of protein structure is hydrogen bonding. You have a covalent bond between oxygen and hydrogen. But you have a hydrogen bond within the molecule of water. Then you have a hydrogen bond between the hydrogen of one molecule and the oxygen of another molecule. The secondary structure takes on 2 forms, where you have the beta pleated sheet and the alpha helix. You have hydrogen bonding between the amino group and the carboxylic group of the members of the chain, of the members of a single polypeptide chain. Hydrogen bonding to other members of the polypeptide chain. In your alpha helix, it'll be every 4th amino acid or so. In your beta pleated sheets, it'll be every, if I'm remembering correctly, 11th, 6th or 11th, if I'm remembering correctly, of course. But this is the internet, so argue about it in the comments below. All right. Or somebody will correct me in the comments below, I'm sure it's. All right. So, the examples of the amino acid subunits, these are your amino acid subunits. There's your R group, there's your carboxylic group, there's your amino group. Look, it's a peptide bond right there. Ta-da! So, your next level of protein structure, the important bonds, are going to be your ionic bonds, your disulfide bonds, in addition to hydrogen bonds and dipole interactions. And that's going to be your tertiary structure. Your ionic bonds are going to be also called salt bridges. Your disulfide bonds will be bonds between the sulfurs. You will have an actual covalent bond, making the disulfide bond the strongest bond of the tertiary structure. Now, you can argue all day that the ionic bond is the strongest bond, but when you are in an aqueous solution, the ionic bond is a very, very weak bond, because an aqueous solution takes away all of an ionic bond's power. So, your disulfide bond, which is a covalent bond, will be your strongest bond in the tertiary structure. You also have hydrophobic interactions, where your non-polar R groups are going to dissolve and interact with the the hydrophilic, polar water solutions surrounding, and the other hydrophilic R groups elsewhere. So you'll also have hydrogen bonds of R groups elsewhere. You'll have ionic bonds elsewhere. All of those will be polar interactions. Now, your hydrophilic and your hydrophobic interactions are going to be your primary source of the tertiary structure. This is going to be where you get your main shape from. Your hydrophilic R groups and your hydrophobic R groups, your pink and your yellows. In an aqueous solution, if you put a protein in an aqueous solution, the hydrophilic R groups will face outside to the aqueous solution, and they will dissolve in water, like dissolves light. The hydrophobic R groups will internalize and go toward each other inside. So they will nestle together, and you will have this globular shape. Now, if I were to take this same unfolded polypeptide, and I were to put it into oil, for example, or gasoline, which is a non-polar solvent, I would have the opposite effect. My pink hydrophilic groups would face inward, and my hydrophobic R groups, the yellow ones, would face outward. The folding would be totally different. If I were to dry out this protein, I would take this, this hydrophobic R group and I would unfold the protein entirely. Because air is a non-polar medium, so my hydrophobic groups would start facing outwards. Protein structure. The quaternary structure may or may not exist. The quaternary structure may or may not exist in a protein. Now, this is not saying that it's theoretical. This is saying that it depends on the protein. Excuse me. So, a quaternary structure is the step above tertiary structure. Your tertiary structure is going to be your three-dimensional, the 3D conformation of a single polypeptide chain. The 3D conformation of a single polypeptide chain. A quaternary structure is going to be the combination of multiple 3D conformations of single polypeptide chains into one overall 3D conformation of multiple polypeptide chains. So a quaternary structure is the 3D conformation of multiple polypeptide chains. So your tertiary structure is the 3D conformation of a single polypeptide chain. A quaternary structure is the 3D conformation of multiple polypeptide chains. Now, that brings us, and by the way, hemoglobin is our stereotypical quaternary structure. We use hemoglobin as an example. But there are other examples. For example, collagen. Collagen is a quaternary structure, but it has 3 polypeptides wound together into a fibrous polypeptide chain, which brings us to our 2 types of proteins, fibrous proteins and globular proteins. Fibrous proteins, as one might suspect, have a fibrous structure, a fiber structure, whereas globular proteins have a globe-shaped structure, a more rounded structure. So, fibrous proteins are insoluble in waters, in acids, in bases. They have strong intermolecular forces that hold them together. They are a thread or a helical shape. They are often found in sheets as well. Globular proteins, they are soluble in water and acids and bases. They have weak intermolecular forces holding them together, and they are often folded, ball-like, or a 3-dimensional pattern. This is not to say that fibrous proteins do not exist in 3 dimensions, just that a sheet is not really considered 3-dimensional by ease of association. So, this is hemoglobin on a bad hair day. Hemoglobin, Hemoglobin, is the American spelling, but haemoglobin, also spelled hemoglobin, is the British spelling. I'm going to take an aside here. There's already a video on the channel about this, but about spelling. Be consistent in your spelling. Always spell the word the same way every time you spell it that way. So if you're going to spell it hemoglobin, spell it hemoglobin every single time. If you're going to spell it hemoglobin every single time. If you're going to spell it color, C-O-L-O-U-R, you had better spell everything Favor, F-A-V-O-U-R. You had better be consistent. Behavior, all the O-U-Rs. You had better be British. And last I checked, this is America. So you're not British. Alright? So try and stick to the American spellings. So, globular proteins, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin's job, and we'll talk about this much more in Unit 4, carries oxygen in the blood, as we discussed. It also has other roles. For example, carbaminohemoglobin is a compound of hemoglobin and carbon dioxide. 10% of carbon dioxide will be carried in the blood in this way, bound to the terminal amino end. To the terminal amino end of hemoglobin. Carboxyhemoglobin is a compound of hemoglobin and carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide actually displaces oxygen from the iron of the heme group. So all this is accomplished thanks to the iron-containing heme, but that's not a protein. So because it's not a protein, but it's attached to a protein, it's not composed of amino acids, but it's part of a protein, we're going to call it a prosthetic group. So prosthetic groups may be organic, such as a vitamin, a sugar, a lipid, or inorganic, such as a metal ion. But it is not composed of amino acids. It is bound tightly to proteins. It may even be attached through covalent bonding, as opposed to coenzymes, which are very loosely bound to proteins. In A level, we would be discussing coenzymes, but this is an AS level review, so we're going to stick to the AS level right now. So this is heme right now. We have a mostly carbon and hydrogen structure with nitrogen binding to an iron compound. This allows oxygen to oxidize that iron, turning it to rust, iron oxide, therefore it will be red. So blood is always red, no matter what you see when you look at your skin and the veins on it. They're not blue, they're red. Yeah, I'm sure there's a SciShow episode out there. Once again, they don't pay me, I'm just a fan. Alright, now more about fibrous proteins, specifically collagen. Collagen is a group of naturally occurring fibrous proteins in animals, most abundant in mammals. It functions as a glue that holds the body together by connecting and supporting such bodily tissues as the muscles, tendons, ligaments, and cartilages, skin, bone, and teeth. There are multiple types of cartilage, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Type 1 cartilage, type 4 cartilage is bone. Type 1 cartilage is bone. Once again, comment section will probably be yelling at me. Alright. Things to note. There is very little in the way of tertiary structure, 3D conformation of a single polypeptide chain here. Because effectively what you're going to get is just a strand. And you'll have it'll have a quaternary structure where you'll have 3 individual polypeptide chains wrapped together, twisted together into a cord. So collagen fibers are different from collagen molecules in a fashion similar to how cellulose is to microfibrils. So a collagen tripeptide is a collagen molecule. The individual collagen molecule is the quaternary structure of the protein. But when you combine a collagen tripeptide, a collagen molecule, into multiple of its type, you will get a collagen microfibril. You combine multiple collagen microfibrils, you'll get a collagen fibril. Multiple collagen fibrils, you'll get a collagen fiber. Now, collagen's job is the protein-based connective tissue that forms a support system for your blood vessels, skin, bones, ligaments, and muscles. It also has a partner in crime called elastin. Elastin has the job of snapping back into position, like the elastic waistband on underwear. its job is not to stretch. Its job is to return to its original position. An elastic waistband that stretches but then does not snap back is not doing its job correctly.
Battery's out.
Battery's out?
Yep. Well, it's blinking red, meaning I'd rather cut you off now than later.
No, no. What?
Use it until it dies.
Because it's going to...
Use it until it dies.
Yeah, use it until it dies.
Okay, sorry.